Did you feel it? That subtle, gnawing sense that the love stories you were sold were a beautiful, yet poisonous lie? You were told that another person, a soulmate, held the key to your completion, that their love would be the sacred balm to heal your deepest wounds. But a whisper from your higher self has always hinted at a different truth, a more profound reality that modern romance refuses to acknowledge. This feeling isn't a flaw. It's the first sign of your spiritual awakening. If this message resonates deep within your soul, if it speaks to a truth you've long suspected but could never name, let me know in the comments by writing, "I am awakening." Your journey is a sacred one, and you are not walking it alone. Like this video, subscribe, and join a tribe of souls who are ready to shatter their illusions and reclaim their divine power. You were handed a map that leads to a phantom destination. You were lied to. Society, with its endless chorus of songs, films, and fairy tales, whispered a seductive falsehood into your developing mind. They told you that women are ethereal creatures of pure gentleness, nurturing beings whose sole purpose is to be the soft place for a man to fall. They painted a picture of selfless devotion, of a love so pure it could wash away all your sins and fill the empty chambers of your heart. They sold you on the illusion of romantic salvation, the idea that your life's grand purpose was to find this one perfect creature who would finally make you whole. This is the great deception, a spiritual anesthetic designed to keep you comfortably numb and disconnected from your true source of power. But what if I told you that a wise soul, a philosopher named Nietzsche, saw through this shimmering mirage more than a century ago? What if he understood that this beautiful lie wasn't just misleading, but profoundly dangerous to a man's spirit? Prepare yourself, because the truths we are about to uncover are not meant for the faint of heart. They are for the warrior soul, the one who is tired of playing games he doesn't understand and is ready to finally perceive the world as it is. By the end of this transmission, you will either retreat back into the comfortable warmth of your illusions, or you will begin to understand the divine mechanics of attraction and power that most men will never grasp. You will either reject this message with every fiber of your being, or you will finally see women and yourself with a clarity that is both terrifying and liberating. And trust the frequency of these words. Once this veil is lifted, your perception of reality, of love, and of your own potential will be altered for eternity. You will never see the world or women in the same way again. They wrapped you in the gossamer threads of fairy tales from the moment you could comprehend language. You were fed myths from the cradle to the grave, each one reinforcing the central, crippling lie that the right woman would be your salvation, that her love was a holy grail that would heal your wounds, validate your existence, and complete the puzzle of your soul. They taught you to believe she was morally superior, a purer, kinder, more evolved being whose approval was the ultimate prize. Nietzsche recognized this as the most profound and insidious deception that men inflict upon themselves. It is a self-imposed spiritual bondage. And the reason for this deception is not because women are inherently evil or malicious. No, the truth is far more unsettling. Men cling to this illusion because they are afraid. They are cowards in the face of the raw, unflinching truth of existence, terrified to confront the vast emptiness and inadequacy they feel within their own souls. What you've been conditioned to call love is often just a desperate primal need dressed up in the noble robes of virtue. Think about it. Do you truly adore her, or do you adore what she represents? You don't see her. You see a mirror reflecting back a version of yourself that you desperately want to be. Validated, purposeful, worthy. You see an escape from your own inner abyss, a beautiful distraction from the difficult, sacred work of building your own soul. And on a deep instinctual level, she knows this. She can feel the frequency of your neediness, and it is the very thing that repels her. Nietzsche did not hate women. He hated the pedestal of lies that men placed them upon. He hated the refusal to see them for what they are. Not angels or monsters, but complex, powerful human beings playing their own ancient and strategic game. He despised the lies that stripped them of their humanity, turning them into one-dimensional saviors or villains, but never acknowledging the raw, authentic power they truly wield. Why does a man crumble when a woman leaves him? Why does her rejection feel like a divine judgment, a final verdict on his worth as a human being? Because he willingly handed her the gavel. In his spiritual slumber, he made her his judge, his savior, and the sole arbiter of his self-esteem. He outsourced his sense of wholeness to her, placing the fragile core of his identity in her hands. And so, when she inevitably walks away, the illusion doesn't just crack, it shatters into a million pieces, leaving him staring into the terrifying abyss of his own psyche. He is left alone with the very emptiness he was trying to escape. Remember the profound warning Nietzsche gave us: when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. But modern men, in their fear, would rather gaze at the comforting reflection in a woman's eyes than confront the powerful, creative chaos that resides within themselves. Here is the brutal, liberating truth you have been avoiding your entire life. Women are not your redemption. They are not your therapists, your mothers, or your moral compass. They are not a cosmic reward for being a nice guy. They are sovereign players in a game far older than civilization itself, a game of power, survival, and exquisitely calculated influence. While men were busy forging empires of iron and stone, women were mastering something far more subtle, far more potent: the empire of emotional leverage. This is not because they are manipulative by nature in some malicious sense, but because the long, unforgiving arc of history gave them no other choice. They were denied the sword, so they perfected the art of silence. They were denied overt authority, so they mastered the subtle currents of persuasion. And modern men? They remain blissfully, tragically blind to this reality, admitting it would force them to confront the uncomfortable truth that for generations they haven't been the players, but the ones being played. You tell yourself that you love her, but what is it that you truly love? Is it her essence, her soul, or is it the intoxicating way she makes you feel about yourself? Seen, chosen, complete. Enough. That, my friend, is not love. That is addiction. And like any addict, you will rationalize, you will bargain, and you will debase yourself to chase that fleeting high, to get your next fix of external validation. Nietzsche saw this sickness centuries ago. He declared that the demand to be loved is the greatest of all arrogant presumptions. It is the cry of an empty soul begging to be filled from the outside. Yet men today continue to kneel at the altar of female approval, begging for scraps of affection and calling it devotion. But here is the question that no one dares to ask, the question that can shatter the very foundations of your reality. What if she is not your salvation, but your greatest test? A spiritual crucible designed to burn away everything that is weak and inauthentic within you. A test that most men fail spectacularly because they would rather worship a fantasy than see the divine, powerful reality standing right in front of them. It is time to shatter another illusion, one that is perhaps the most deeply ingrained of all, the myth of female innocence. Nietzsche saw through it first. That wide-eyed gaze, the gentle touch, the way she seems to dissolve into a state of pure vulnerability. You have been programmed to interpret this as purity, as a sign of her delicate and fragile nature. You call it innocence, he called it power. Understand this fundamental truth. While men are out in the world flexing muscles and accumulating wealth, women have mastered the profound art of strategic surrender. They do not conquer through force, they invite conquest, and in doing so, they dictate the ultimate terms of engagement. Stop and think for a moment. In the intricate dance of intimacy, who truly holds the control? Who sets the pace of commitment? Who possesses the terrifying power to devastate you with a single cold glance or a moment of withdrawn affection? You might call her emotional, but Nietzsche would call her a master tactician of the heart. And here is where the modern man implodes. He mistakes a woman's profound adaptability for weakness. He sees her empathy and assumes it is submission. This is a catastrophic miscalculation. Big mistake. Empathy, in the divine feminine, is not a weakness, it is a finely tuned radar. It is a powerful sensory tool that tells her exactly what you crave, what you fear, and precisely which strings to pull to test the integrity of your being. While you are busy trying to protect her, believing she is a fragile creature in need of your strength, she is reading you like a spiritual blueprint. She is assessing the very core of your character. Nietzsche issued a stark warning to us all. In revenge and in love, woman is more barbaric than man. But do not misinterpret this as a condemnation. This isn't about revenge in the petty sense. It's about a deep, primal realism. The moment you realize her tenderness is not weakness, but a form of weaponized understanding, is the moment you stop being a pawn in a game you didn't even know you were playing. Now, prepare for the hardest pill to swallow, the truth that will set you free if you have the courage to accept it. You were never in control. Not when you paid for the dinners, not when you played the role of the provider, not even in that vulnerable moment when she whispered, "I need you," because her need is not surrender. It is a negotiation. And for too long, men have been negotiating not with the woman in front of them, but with their own delusions. The delusion that her tears mean she is broken. They don't. They mean she is communicating, often in a language of emotion that you have been conditioned to ignore. The delusion that her submission means you have won. It doesn't. It means she is choosing, strategically allowing you to feel a sense of victory while she maintains ultimate control over the emotional landscape of the relationship. Nietzsche put it bluntly, with a shock value designed to awaken the sleeping mind. Everything about woman has one solution: pregnancy. Now, strip away the provocative surface of that statement and you will see his real, profound point. Biology is strategy. Every aspect of the feminine essence is coded with a deep, evolutionary imperative. And the men who ignore this biological reality, who attempt to live in a fantasy world of abstract ideals, will keep losing not to women, but to their own self-imposed blindness. So where does this leave you? It leaves you at a crossroads, a point of profound spiritual choice. You can continue to cling to the fairy tale, to the comforting but disempowering belief that women are either angels or demons. Or you can do what Nietzsche demanded of all who seek true power: see clearly, see the world as it is. Not to resent women, but to finally respect the game, because the game itself will never change. But you still can. Let us cut deeper now, to the very heart of the matter. You have been taught that vulnerability is strength, that opening your heart and exposing your wounds is a noble act that will be rewarded with love and acceptance. Nietzsche would laugh at this modern weakness, this sentimental distortion of true power. Real strength is not found in the chaotic, unrestrained spilling of your emotions. True strength is seeing the game for what it is and choosing to play it consciously, with intention and self-possession. Women do not respect raw, unchecked vulnerability. They respect controlled vulnerability. They are drawn to the man who can share just enough of his inner world to create intimacy, but never so much that he loses his power, his center, his sovereign ground. This is the brutal truth that modern psychology confirms but dares not say aloud. Consider this: when a woman tests you with silence, with jealousy, or with withdrawal, she is not being cruel. She is being evolutionary. These are the same ancient tests women have used for millennia to separate the strong from the weak, the men worthy of her deepest investment from those who are not. The man who chases after her when she pulls away, who pleads and begs for her attention, fails the test. He reveals his neediness, his lack of an internal anchor. The man who remains unmoved, who holds his frame and remains centered in his own purpose, passes. He demonstrates that his emotional state is not dependent on her approval. Nietzsche understood this primal dance when he wrote that the woman's whole nature is a solution to the problem of how to take the weak position in appearance, while actually being strong. Modern men collapse under these tests because they have been brainwashed by romance novels and Disney endings. They have been taught a false equation, that persistence equals devotion. It does not. It equals neediness, and neediness is the ultimate repellent. Watch what happens when a man truly internalizes this. He stops fearing a woman's moods. He stops interpreting her behavior as a judgment of his worth, and in that moment, the entire power dynamic flips. He gains power not through domination, but through self-containment. This is what Nietzsche truly meant when he spoke of women. They are the ultimate reality check. When a man makes a woman his sole purpose, his reason for being, he is already lost. But when he makes self-mastery his purpose, that is when he becomes undeniable. Not because he has learned a set of tricks or a manipulative script, but because he has finally understood the oldest truth of all. The only love worth having is the love given freely to a man who does not need it to feel complete. The modern dating landscape is a minefield of unspoken power dynamics that most men fail to recognize. Nietzsche saw this coming. He foresaw a time when civilization would soften men, dulling their instincts, while simultaneously sharpening the instinctual edge of women. While men were busy building comfortable, safe lives, women maintained their connection to their ancient survival skills, reading micro-expressions, detecting neediness, and sensing shifts in power with a single glance. Understand that this is not a conspiracy. It is evolutionary biology refined through countless centuries of necessity. What they do not teach you in your modern world is that every single romantic interaction contains a hidden negotiation. When she asks, "What are you thinking?" she is not just making conversation. She is probing for emotional leverage. When she withdraws her affection after an argument, she is not being petty. She is demonstrating the ultimate female power, selective access. Nietzsche grasped this when he observed that women understand the value of scarcity better than any economist. the commodity, their attention, the price, your autonomy. And here is the painful irony. Most men willingly pay this price, sacrificing their own center while calling it love. They mistake their obsession for passion, their attachment for devotion. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Real, raw attraction cannot coexist with dependency. The moment a man makes a woman his emotional center is the moment he becomes predictable. And predictability is the death of desire. This is precisely why Nietzsche warned that the man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends. This isn't about literal hatred, but about maintaining a sacred emotional independence, a refusal to completely merge your identity with another. True power lies in emotional sovereignty. Modern psychology skirts around this profound truth, offering platitudes about healthy attachment, but Nietzsche cuts deeper. All attachment is vulnerability. The crucial question is not whether to connect, but whether you can connect without losing yourself. Most men fail this test spectacularly. They either become domineering, a transparent overcompensation for their inner fear, or they become supplicating, a pathetic admission of weakness. The rare man who finds the balance? He becomes magnetic. Not because he plays games, but because he is genuinely indifferent to the outcome. He is grounded in his own purpose. This isn't manipulation, it is self-possession. The most dangerous lie that modern men believe is that equality means sameness. Nietzsche would scoff at this naive notion. Men and women are different organisms, shaped by vastly different evolutionary pressures. To pretend otherwise is to blind yourself to reality. Women do not want men who mirror their own emotional patterns. They crave men who stand firm in their masculine essence while deeply respecting her feminine nature. This isn't about dominance. It's about polarity, the electric tension between opposites that makes passion possible. The great tragedy of modern masculinity is that men have been taught to seek permission where they should claim responsibility. They hesitate, they negotiate, and they second-guess when they should act with unshakable conviction. Nietzsche called this the paralysis of the will, the curse of over-intellectualization that sterilizes instinct. Watch how a woman's energy shifts when a man finally stops asking, "Is this okay?" and starts declaring, "This is who I am." That shift from approval, seeking to self-ownership, is the precise moment that attraction either ignites or evaporates. There is no middle ground. We have reached a cultural breaking point where men must choose. Continue clinging to the fantasy of effortless equality, or acknowledge the deeper, more challenging truths about polarity and power. This isn't about regression, it's about evolution. The relationships that will thrive in this new era will not be those built on political correctness, but those forged in the fires of raw authenticity, where men dare to be men, and women are free to respond to that energy without apology. Nietzsche's final word on the matter is a command. Become who you are, and then have the courage to stand by it. The rest is just commentary. The most dangerous lie poisoning modern relationships is the belief that love means unconditional acceptance. Nietzsche would call this the coward's philosophized desperate hope that you can be loved without first being worthy of that love. But here is the brutal truth your therapist will never tell you. Love is always conditional. Not in a transactional, tit-for-tat sense, but in the unspoken, biological requirement that you must continually earn respect through your actions, through your very being. Women do not want a project to fix. They want a partner who inspires them. The moment you stop growing, the moment you become predictable and stagnant, is the moment you start dying in her eyes. This is why Nietzsche insisted that one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. The most attractive men are not those who have everything figured out, but those who are clearly on an upward trajectory, restless, curious, always becoming. This is the ultimate irony of the dance. The more you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the less you will worry about dating techniques or game. Not because you stop caring about women, but because you start caring more about your own potential. This is the great inversion that few men ever achieve, moving from need-based relationships to choice-based connections. From "I am with you because I need you" to the far more powerful declaration, "I choose you because I want you." This shift changes everything. Not just your love life, but your entire existence. The modern dating world operates on the fundamental lie that male and female desires are identical. Nietzsche tore this fantasy apart with surgical precision. Women do not crave what men crave, and the refusal to acknowledge this difference is why so many relationships become battlegrounds of quiet, simmering resentment. The feminine does not want to be treated like one of the guys. It wants to be met with masculine clarity. Not dominance, but decisiveness. Not control, but leadership. These are not social constructs, they are biological imperatives refined over millennia. And here is what no one admits. A woman's ultimate test of a man is not his income or his status. It is his ability to hold his frame under pressure. When life crumbles, when emotions run high, does he remain anchored in his purpose or does he dissolve into the chaos? This is why Nietzsche revered stoicism not as emotional repression, but as the mastery of one's inner world. A man who can navigate the storms of life without losing himself commands a respect that no paycheck or physique can ever buy. Women don't fall for stability, they fall for strength that has been tempered by adversity. Here is what the red pill often gets wrong. Becoming alpha is not about dominating women. It is about being so secure in your own purpose that her presence becomes a complement to your life rather than the completion of it. The truly powerful man does not fear female strength, he thrives on it. He understands that a high-value woman will test him relentlessly, not to break him, but to reveal whether he is strong enough to deserve her. These tests are not manipulation. They are the ancient quality control system of the feminine. Fail them, and you will never truly know why she lost interest. Pass them, and you will unlock a depth of connection that most men can only fantasize about. This is the ultimate Nietzschean insight. The quality of your relationships mirrors the quality of your character. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. So when men complain about only meeting toxic women, they are revealing far more about themselves than they realize. The marketplace of relationships is brutally efficient at matching energy with energy. Want better partners? Become a better man. Not as a strategy, but as a way of being. This is what Nietzsche meant when he said you must become a flame, because only then will you stop chasing butterflies and start attracting moths to your light.